We're given the impression that these are the things that we need to go after in order to have a good life.
I had a client recently who was baffled by why his accent was so vastly different from the standard North American accent. And it wasn't until I explained this one simple sound that he finally understood something that had baffled him for over a decade. So in this video, I'm going to show you all about this mystery sound and how you can master it too. I'll also show you what happens if you don't master it. I'll show you why anyone on the planet can do this because it's way easier than it seems. And for fun, I'll show you tons of examples of why this sound is such a significant part of why native English speakers sound native. But first, let's look at some examples of when we don't have this sound and how that can impact our perceptions of naturalness, fluency, and nativeness. When a person doesn't use this sound, the result can be somewhat robotic. And that's why the typical robot speech you hear in movies and TV lacks this sound. Let's see if you can spot the sound. I'm going to show you a clip of one of my favorite movies, but Big Hero 6. Let's see if we can find some of these sounds.
Do you have a jetpack and wings?
I do not, no, sadly.
I recommend that you get a pair. Wind turbines that go awry and endanger the citizens of San Francisco. Good. Because with my friends, you would not succeed.
So if I decide to strengthen all of these sounds, especially the reduced forms, it becomes evident that the speech is different.
You have returned, Mr. Robinson.
I ask only to serve you.
No. It's called civilian rights. There is no curfew.
Return to your home immediately.
Now that you can see that not using this sound impacts your speech significantly, let's discuss what this sound is and how you can master it. And in the comments below, if you think you already know the sound, write it in the description. I'm curious to know how many of you already know the answer, what the sound is, and how you can master it too. So let me ask you, what sound does the letter I make? It can make the sound I, as in it or is. It can make the sound E, as in sushi or Hawaii. And it can also make the sound as in the pronunciation of the word immediately. What about this letter, the A? The A can make the sound aw, as in the word wander. It can make the sound a, as in apple. But it can also make the sound as in yoga. How about the letter O? That can make the O sound as in no. It can make the ah sound as in frog, but it can also make the sound as in computers. So the problem here is that any vowel can be pronounced as Is your mind blown right now? And this kind of explains why the word America is pronounced with an at the beginning for A, an for the I, and an for the other A. And it also explains why a word like ago, ago, is not pronounced ago or ago. And it's because spoken English is very rarely what you expect. Some of the most used words in English are pronounced in a very different, special way, in a reduced way. And in general, reductions, including contractions as well, are a very normal part of everyday American English. They're not an exception. A rough estimate suggests that a significant portion of American English speech, possibly between 20 and 50%, is used in a reduced way. And the problem is that this is very rarely taught to non-native English speakers. And when it is, generally it's only scratching the surface of what is occurring in speech. And this is why it contributes so much to sounding native or non-native. So the sound I'm referring to is called the schwa. The word schwa originates from Hebrew, which denotes a diacritical mark, meaning no vowel. It literally means emptiness. So what's its function? The schwa is pronounced as a quick, relaxed, neutral vowel, The purpose of the schwa is to allow unstressed syllables to be reduced and said in a quick way. And this helps with speed, fluency, and the rhythm of American English. And of course, if you can hear the sound, you can understand American English speakers so much better. So now you can see that not mastering this sound will affect your ability to master the American English accent. And you can see how it can also affect your ability to speak fluently and naturally and quickly in English, as well as understand the English around you. Many people erroneously believe that this sound schwa is only for really casual conversations, or it's really just for slang in English. This couldn't be further from the truth. Schwa is used in all forms of English speech, from informal to formal. Let's check out a formal presentation of a TED Talk speaker. This speaker is Robert Waldinger. Let's listen.
If you were going to invest now in your future best self, where would you put your time and your energy? Where would you put your time and your energy? We're given the impression that these are the things that we need to go after in order to have a good life. We're given the impression that these are the things that we need to go after in order to have a good life.
Okay, so he reduced quite a few words, but maybe it was a mistake. Maybe he forgot to be formal. How about in a formal presidential speech to the country? Let's listen to a clip of the former president of the United States speaking to the country.
Our own future is brighter if more of mankind can live with the bright light of freedom and dignity. Our own future is brighter if more of mankind can live with the bright light of freedom and dignity.
Okay, but maybe he forgot to be formal. Maybe he made a mistake. What about another admired speaker? Surely the former Queen of England would never use such informal speech like this. Let's look.
In the coming days, the world has the chance to join in the shared objective of creating a safer, stabler future for our people and for the planet on which we depend. In the coming days, the world has the chance to join in the shared objective of creating a safer, stabler future for our people and for the planet on which we depend.
In this sentence, there were 24 potential opportunities for the Queen to use a reduced form or a schwa, and she chose 21 of them. If you found any of this interesting or informative in any way, just subscribe. That way you'll get lots more videos just like this. So let's check out some very admired English speakers and analyze the words that are being used with the schwa or reduced forms. The word and is generally reduced to a quick n. It's almost like the vowel itself is gone. A schwa. And in this case, you'll even hear the D deleted altogether. Let's see an example of that in an American news broadcast.
Severe storms hitting now and over the next 24 hours. Now and over the next...
How about for? The vowel in for is often reduced because it's typically not a stressed word. It's more of a function word and doesn't carry a ton of meaning. F to R, fur. Let's look at an example. Here's Ryan Reynolds.
It's nearly fall, which means the entire universe will once again be losing its mind for pumpkin spice. For pumpkin spice.
Am. The vowel's reduced to almost nothing. You're going to hear a little instead of am. Let's look at an example.
What am I doing here? What am I doing here?
Ah gets reduced to a quick which is a schwa. Now this A has a bit of a rule associated with it with our grammar. So when there is a consonant after the word you'll hear that quick little a computer, a pen.
I'm a psychologist. I'm a psychologist.
If there is a vowel coming after that A, we will typically add a little N, an owl or an octopus or an author. But you'll also notice that that vowel A, is reduced. That's an understatement. That's an rather than an. The word to gets reduced to a t t, when there's a consonant after. And producing the word to as t is a completely normal thing to do in a natural conversation, formal or informal. And unless there is some very specific reason to stress or emphasize the word to, then it is reduced. So an example of emphasis might be, I'm not coming from the store, I'm going to the store. In that case, I've stressed to because it was the most important and informative word of that statement. So in that case, I might just stress it. But when it is unstressed, you'll hear that reduction and schwa inserted. Ta. Let's look at an example.
Do I get to meet Ryan?
He lives in a different state.
Do I get to meet Ryan?
He lives in a different...
Has. The A is reduced to that quick schwa. Sometimes the H is even deleted altogether, and it will sound like z, z, z. Let's look at an example of this being used.
Well, this has been great.
Is Danny DeVito here?
Well, this has been great.
The word at, that A vowel reduced to a quick little Let's look at an example of this reduction being used in its weakest form.
What was I voted by my classmates at school? A, most handsome. B, most likely to end up in prison. C, best personality.
I'm gonna say C, best personality.
Most likely to end up in prison. Classmates at school.
The word the, in its reduced form, in an unstressed position, is the. Therefore, that E is pronounced as a schwa, the. Let's look at an example of it being used in a reduced way.
Which of these pranks did I pull at college? A, brought a herd of goats into the college auditorium. Goats into the college auditorium.
If for whatever reason this word is emphasized, then you'll maybe notice the full the pronunciation, or when there's potentially a vowel after that word, the. But in its reduced form, you'll hear the. The word as is reduced to z, z, z. It's essentially a reduced vowel to almost nothing with a quick little z. Z. Let's look at an example of it being used.
B, dressed up as the janitor and walked into my friends' classes pretending to do odd jobs.
As Commander-in-Chief,
If you've watched to this point, I'm hoping you've liked some of this content. Press that little like button. Let me know that what I'm doing is useful to you and you're finding it interesting. I know it takes a little effort. Take that mouse and just press it. It's okay. I kind of get paid in likes, so thank you. So how can literally anyone get the most out of this sound and impact their English speech with as little effort as possible? That's important. The answer's easy. Just pick the ones that are used the most in English. In large-scale corpus analyses, the words the, to, and a are the most used and frequently reduced words in English. The word the tends to be the most common, accounting for between 5 to 7% of all words in English speech. A and to follow, comprising of somewhere between 1 and 3%. So the point, if you master these three guys, you've made a big change in your accent.
It's true.
The schwa contributes a lot to the rhythm of the English language. And if any of this is surprising to you, it likely means that you've been listening to English not as it's spoken, but as you expected it to be spoken. And if your goal is to understand native English speakers better, these weak forms are extremely important to be aware of. But everything I just told you is useless. Because if you don't actually use the skill, you won't see any results. So in this next video, I explain exactly what all those steps are to see results, and learn what the steps are to master a speech skill and make it useful for you. Plus, if you want tons and tons of practice, check out my book. You can see it in the link below on Amazon. You can listen on Audible. And if you want everything all together, check out my course. Everything's on the website and the link is below. But let's work together and master the next level, okay? So click on this video and I'll see you right there. Bye.